You know your company should only deal with reputable service providers, especially when disposing of unwanted IT equipment. But what does that really mean, and why is this important? Welcome to the Circular Future, your access to thought leaders and innovations to help you be a business sustainability champion, even if it's not your core job. I'm your host, Stephanie McLarty, Head of Sustainability at Quantum Lifecycle Partners. We're tackling the question, why can't I just send my old computers, phones, and other IT equipment to any local recycler or to the person with the best price? In responsible electronics recycling and remarketing, there are three widely acknowledged pillars: security, environment, and value recovery. Today, we're talking industry standards that guarantee quality in these three areas and why it matters to you and your business. Let's get into it. What exactly are standards? Standards are a set of guidelines developed by third-party, non-governmental organizations. The purpose of these guidelines is to promote consistent quality, safety, and efficiency while minimizing negative impacts on the environment. The standards outline items that must be in place. They usually give some wiggle room with other aspects, since every business can be different. There is also an auditing process, and at Quantum, we're audited on an annual basis to ensure we are meeting the requirements. There are literally hundreds of standards out there. Some are general, like the International Organization of Standardization, or ISO standards, and some are very industry-specific, like the R2 standard. It's normal for companies to have multiple standards. In general, what are the benefits of certifying to a standard? For one, certifying promotes best practices and can improve productivity. It can open the door in the marketplace and ultimately can increase revenue. Some companies require their vendors to have certain certifications. Standards also improve and maintain customer satisfaction. Let's look at the ISO 9001 standard, which is the quality management system. This is the most commonly used international quality standard in the world, and it gives customers confidence of consistent quality no matter which site they send their material to. There are 8 principles of a quality management system. A few are that it's customer-focused. There is evidence-based decision-making taking place, and there is continuous improvement. At Quantum, this means we process material as per our upstream customer requirements. In other words, we do what we say we will do. We also produce a product that meets the specs of our downstream customer, i.e. the specialized recyclers that we send commodities to. We also identify non-conforming material and set it aside. We follow documented processes, and we raise our hand if something is not being followed. Finally, we undergo an audit of this entire process. The ISO 14001 standard is another common standard which addresses the environmental management system. This standard provides assurance to customers and employees that environmental impacts are being measured and tracked, so improvements can be made and that local environmental regulations are being followed. Ultimately, the standard makes environmental sustainability a focus instead of a backburner item. This can include preventing environmental accidents, decreasing pollutant and waste output, and reducing energy and material costs. What does this look like at Quantum? It means we keep the doors closed where there are large amounts of dust that may escape into the natural environment, and instead collect the dust. It means that we follow procedures for battery handling to reduce the risk of fire. Ultimately, the organization has to establish a procedure to identify environmental aspects and then determine if those aspects have an impact on the environment, whether positive or negative. A standard which is specific to the e-waste recycling industry is the R2 standard on responsible recycling. and specifically the latest version, which is R2v3. This standard sets forth requirements relating to environmental, health, safety, and security aspects of electronics recycling. It emphasizes data security and also requires that organizations follow the material through to their final destination period. Ultimately, this gives you assurance that your material is being recycled to the highest standard. Another important aspect about the R2 standard is that it establishes focus materials, which are anything that may warrant greater care during recycling due to their inherently dangerous nature. It doesn't mean that we can't process them. We just have to have the right tools and processes to do so. Some examples of these focused materials include polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs, mercury or CRT glass. What's new in the latest R2v3 standard is that facilities are certified to what's called appendices, and that allows them to reflect the scope of their operation at a particular site. For example, they can be certified for test and repair, or data sanitization, or materials recovery. This allows a single organization with multiple types of sites to be certified based on what's appropriate at each site. The R2v3 standard also sets new standards for specialty electronics, such as medical lab and commercial telecom equipment for reuse. Lastly, there are enhanced requirements for security controls, traceability, recordings of physical destruction, and verified sanitization. Finally, if you're having an external company remove data from devices, make sure they have robust data security certifications. At Quantum, we have the NAID AAA certification, which is a globally recognized qualification that illustrates compliance with all known data protection laws. To become certified, businesses must be well managed under standardized procedures and compliant with all applicable regulations. NAID AAA certification may apply to physical destruction or electronic media overwriting operations. There are also specific endorsements available, such as mobile certifications, when data is wiped at a customer site, as well as plant-based certifications, when the process is performed in your own facility. It is important to note that the I-Sigma membership, which was formerly known as the NAID membership, is not the same thing as being NAID AAA certified. The certification is above and beyond the membership, and less than half of I-Sigma members are NAID AAA certified. Even fewer have credentials for hard drive destruction and overwriting. Which brings me to why certifications are important to you and how they help your business reduce risk. If you work with companies without stringent data certifications like NAID AAA, you run the risk of data leaks, which can have huge short-term and long-term impacts on businesses. If the recycling company you work with is not R2 certified or similar, you have no way of knowing where your unwanted materials are going and how they're being processed. If the recycling company you work with is not R2 certified or similar, you have no way of knowing where your unwanted materials are going or how they're being processed. Uncertified recyclers may send your electronics with your company's name on it to countries with lax environmental standards, where electronics are openly burned to extract bits of copper and gold. When this kind of information is leaked, data shows many companies never recover from these significant hits to their brand. As they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And remember, if you have redundant tech that you want to remarket or recycle, Quantum has all the certifications and assurances you need. We'd love to chat, so head on over to quantumlifecycle.com and contact us. This is a Quantum Lifecycle podcast, and the producer is Sanjay Trivedi. Thank you for being a circular future champion in your company and beyond. Logging off.